In this video, we are exposing top 1 futures rules, which really means we're just digging into the details, which is what everybody should do on the front end, and reading some of these smaller detailed rules that are important to understand if you want to work yourself towards a payout. Now, again, these are clearly stated rules on the site, same at any other prop firm, but important for us to dig into what I see a lot of traders maybe not read on the front end or not understand, maybe have an issue with down the line and then be upset about. So we're going to look at all of these. If you want to look at the common stuff, feel free to check my YouTube out. I've got consistency rule stuff on there. I've got all of the details with Project X, tutorials, equity stability scores. This is going to be more of the nuanced stuff, maybe that is not really hard to understand, but we're going to talk about where it is, where you can find it, and how to make sure you are operating within it, not violating any of it. And if you want to check out Top 1 Futures, I'll link it right here. Code RDF gets you the best deal. Better than the email, the website, the Discord, anywhere you will find. Right now, it's 55% off. Depending on when you're watching this, head over to the site, check it out. Code RDF will do it for you. And before we even jump in, remember, guys, I am partnered. I'm affiliated with Top 1. I stand to make money, so I can't be unbiased. Important for me to state that and for you to do your own research and make your own decisions. Now, let's go ahead and hop onto the site. So first off, how the heck do you find these rules if you want to pay attention to them yourself and read them, which I think you should at any prop firm that you're looking at? Main page, you have the basics of the accounts, right? Some of the objectives, some of the limitations, prices, but that's not all the detailed rules. Where you find that for Top 1 is similar to all of the firms. Frequently asked questions, right at the top, you click on that, you're going to get brought to the detailed frequently asked questions page, which again, I think everybody should read through for any firm that you're even considering before you purchase. If you don't understand the rules, you don't stand a chance to make money. You can't follow them if you don't know that they're there. Now, let's hop into the first one that I do see some traders tend to have issue with, or at least concerned about. Again, all of these rules, in my humble opinion, are very clearly stated. They're similar to what you see across other firms. But no matter what, it's important for you to understand them. These are just ones that I think maybe people don't pay attention to enough on the front end, and that's why I'm going to be talking about them in this video. Consistency rule, equity stability score, these are really popular ones. Trailing drawdown, I have videos on all of them. Check my YouTube if you want to check that out. These are stuff that I haven't made videos on that are probably going to be important to know about. So first one is the minimum hold time rule. They have under prohibited trading practices, minimum 10-second hold time rule. So what does this mean? They want you to hold profitable trades 10 seconds or longer. Over 10 seconds technically, because it's 10.01 seconds is acceptable. If you are exactly at 10 seconds or under, that's going to be a violation. And what do they say the rule is here? Hard breach, or what's going on? Not a hard breach. They tell you occasional minor violations are tolerable, but if anywhere close to 50% or more of your total and or withdrawable profits, or anywhere close to 50% more of your individual trades violate the rule, all profits associated with those trades are going to be removed. So I think it's really important to note, if you're a trader, and again, this is not at all prop firms, but it is at a lot of them, especially the instant funded ones that we see. I think this is going to be somewhere in the middle of what I've seen across other firms. Some have minimum 5 seconds, 50% of profit from 5 seconds or longer. Some of them have 20 seconds. Essentially, this is going to be important if you are a really high frequency trader, you're a scalper. Take a look at your results, right? Are you finding that a large portion, maybe I'd say just to be cautious, like even anywhere close to a quarter or a third of your trades are under 10 seconds? Top 1's probably going to be an issue for you. And any firm that's going to have a minimum hold time rule, probably going to be an issue for you, right? They're obviously saying that you can't control the market all the time. If you have one trade that rockets to a TP, you're going to be okay. If you're, YOLOing the account on news and hitting, take profit, and it's only one trade, but it's 70% of your profit or something, or it's, one full day of trading, that could tend to be an issue. So again, I think it is a little bit discretionary on their part, but they're making it real clear. And you can go back through in Project X, take a look at your trades, which I would encourage you to do if you're anywhere close to, the third, right? Let's be more conservative than half. Anywhere close to that, like 33% of your trading is coming from under 10-second trades, really tiny scalp trades. This is probably going to be a tough one for you. So I don't think it's common. I'd say 95% of traders are not going to have any issue with this, but there are some super high frequency traders out there. They're tick scalpers. I personally don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with doing that in live market conditions. for their reasons, protecting against ultra high frequency scalping, promoting responsible trading, right? Being able to manage risk on the back end. Those are some of the reasons. But regardless of the reasons, the rule is laid out very clearly here. 10 seconds, longer than 10 seconds, right? You have a lot that are coming in under that. You probably want to review and consider maybe looking at either a whole different firm together or adjusting your approach, right? It could be helpful to not set a take profit for the first 10 seconds. You could look at the countdown timer on the candle. A lot of things you could do to avoid this, but important to note, right? Minimum hold time rule with top one. Another really clear one, and I'm going to try not to spend too much time on this, but I've seen an active stance against straight up sim farming, also known as rolling, churning and burning, gambling accounts, right? You can read what they have laid out here to describe this, but very simply, and there's a clear differentiator between somebody who's lost a handful of accounts, right? Beginner trader who's learning how to trade, and somebody who's really actively attacking this with a large bankroll, running through accounts on the way to exploiting, the policy arbitrage, essentially, that is sim farming, right? This is not actually trading. This is just YOLOing accounts, full port. It's done a number of different ways, but full port, day one, max profit, full port, day two, maybe it's a loss, start again, and really running that way through to payouts. I'd say like some rough ideas, right? If you're blowing through multiple accounts, many accounts per day, per week, you're buying them and blowing them in a short period of time, these can raise red flags, right? If you're up over, let's say, the 10 a week, 20 a month mark, anywhere around that, you're potentially going to be running into red flags. Again, bad stints of tilt can look like sim farming, but for the most part, this is really clear cut. And the only thing that I've seen as far as people having issue with this are either sim farmers themselves, competitive prop firm affiliates, partners, CEOs, right? People who would, stand to benefit from putting down one of the other firms, or just naive traders that don't really understand what's going on. If you attempt to sim farm at top one, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. I think there's other firms out there maybe where you can try to run this game, but even there, it's going to be short-lived. We continue to see firms tighten down. There's prohibited practices at every firm that outline what exactly this is. How strict they are in enforcing that, it's up to them. But again, if you should know what we're talking about here. If this is not you, you're an honest trader, you're attempting to trade, this is not something to be worried about. When you see people having issue, blowing through large numbers of accounts and then, being upset about the repercussions of that, it's sim farming, right? It's exploiting the policy rules to create an edge, right? An EV that has nothing to do with trading, right? You have an expected value that's positive based on the amount of money that you're throwing in, and exploiting the rules, the ability to hit the reset button in an extremely aggressive way, right? Maybe suffering from a little bit of positive variance on the way to taking payouts. So if you want more info on this, feel free to hit me up. But I've seen people be worried about it, people be concerned about it, and it's just really clear cut. Rolling, churning, straight up gambling, not doing anything that is even close to actually trading, creating an edge in the market through risk management is going to have an issue, right? So you can read through that yourself, but this should be pretty clear cut. If it's not, feel free to hit me up, comment underneath. If you have to ask what's the maximum amount of accounts that I can burn through in a week or a month, you're probably looking at this the wrong way, right? Again, if you are aggressively blowing through accounts on tilt, you got to slow down, man. You got to take it easy. If you are attempting to, run the game here, it's not going to go well for you. So read through the rules. If you have questions, feel free. I'm happy to go into more detail, maybe on another video about this, but rolling, churning, and burning accounts, sim farming, just straight up exploiting the sim environment, not going to play with you. So that's a rule to be important to pay attention to. Another one, copy trading. Looking at the copy trading within Top 1 Futures, there's multiple different account types from Top 1 Futures. And while you can copy trade all of your account types, right, individually, you can't copy trade across account types. So we have elite challenge accounts, we have instant funded accounts, and we have straight to sim funded accounts. Each of them allow you different total amount of accounts. For example, right now, and this does change with promotions, right now you can have 5 straight to sim funded pro accounts. You can have 3 instant funded accounts. You can copy trade your 5 straight to funded Sim Pro accounts together. You can copy trade your 3 instant funded accounts together, but you can't copy trade all of them together. Project X on the back end doesn't allow you to do that, but it is important to note, maybe you wanted to try to purchase a ton of accounts and copy trade them all together. You can't do that. You can't copy trade them all together. Also important to note that if you are copy trading using third-party trade copiers like TradeSyncer, for example, you can use them with Top 1 Futures, but they ask that Top 1 Futures is the lead account, that you are not having trades copied from another leader account, right? Whether it's operated by you or not, to Top 1 Futures. They want Top 1 Futures to be the lead account, which typically isn't an issue, right? As long as you're trading on Project X, you make whatever account you want the leader. But it is important to note that you obviously have to operate yourself, right? You can't have copy trading between somebody else where you're copying somebody else's trades. You can't be running, hedging across firms. All that stuff is pretty popular. But the main point of looking at this rule was those two things. Copy trade groups of accounts together. Can't copy trade across the different account types. And if you're using third-party trade copying software, utilize Top 1 Futures as the main account. Also important to note, if you're going to use third-party trade copying software, which can be, somewhat of a risk in itself, if you run into problems, no firm is going to help you out, right? If the copier gets jacked up, it's on the copier, right? That type of deal. So important to note that. Another one to take a look at is the minimum trading day rule. So there is a 10 minimum trading day rule with the instant funded accounts, with the straight to sim funded pro accounts. They are people ask what is a trading day, right? What do you have to do on a trading day for it to count? It's opening and closing a trade. You have to note that you do have that 10-second rule, so you don't want to be violating that with some kind of crazy YOLO trade. But essentially, opening and closing, for example, a smaller, lower risk trade is going to be okay to count as a trading day. In the straight to sim funded pro, you do have a minimum profitable trading days. You have a 0.1% of the account that has to be a profitable to count towards a profitable day. It's different than what we're talking about here. They also have an anytime payouts option to completely remove this rule. So for an additional fee, you have no minimum trading days. But again, important to note, you can be trading however you'd like to trade, but you do have to hit 10 trading days before you can request a payout if you don't have the add-on. And what counts as a trading day? Opening and closing a trade. Another rule to be talking about here is the move to live. I've seen some confusion, right, about the move to live with Top 1. Important to note, they are looking to get traders. They're looking to reward traders who are actually attempting to trade, not just, exploit the sim environment by paying them out heavily compared to other firms, and then get them moved to a live account quickly, right? One of the fastest moves to a live transition in the industry. Three payouts from the same account for instant funded accounts, 2 payouts for the straight to funded Sim Pro. And you're considered for a live account, not guaranteed. They look at your trading, same at almost every other firm, right? You're going to be considered for that live account. What I want to note here is how much and what accounts are considered, how much can be moved to a live account. The maximum is 10% of one account that's being moved live, right? So for example, if you're trading a 50K account, you take 3 payouts from an instant funded, you are considered to be moved to live after that third payout, and up to 10% of that starting balance. So up to $5,000, for example, from a 50K account, up to $15,000 from a 150K account can be transitioned to your live starting balance. Not to withdraw, but that's your live starting capital, right, to be able to work with. If you are copy trading a bunch of accounts, or maybe you're trading instant funded and straight to funded Sim Pro, it is important to note that only one of those is going to be utilized for that live account. The other ones are paused. And then if you somehow blow the account, you lose the account, it's on the risk team to decide where to go from there, right? If you traded it well, I think, and you had a rough go and you lost it, I'd assume they're going to let you continue trading. But it is important to note that, right? The big benefit for copy trading is going to be taking those larger sim payouts across multiple accounts. But if your goal is long-term, which I think to a degree it should be, especially if you're working yourself towards payouts, you want to know what this looks like when you're going to get bumped up to that live account. it's worth noting. And you might want to be able to build a buffer. You might want to pick a specific account. You might not want to copy trade and copy trade 3 accounts individually, right? To be able to take payouts on different accounts on the way to be considered for a live, building a bigger buffer in some, right? There's different ways you can kind of go about this. But it is important to note, maximum of 10% of your starting balance on whatever account is about to be considered to head over to a live account, and it's from one account. If you watch this long, I really appreciate you. Again, if you want to check out Top 1 Futures, code RDF gets you the best deal. You want to trade live with me, 100% free. I do that here on YouTube almost every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern and now 3 p.m. Eastern for Power Hour, opening and closing NYSE session. Hope to see you trading live with me. Quick disclaimer, guys. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't provide financial advice. Trading's risky. Most traders do lose money. Do your own research, make your own trading decisions. I'm just an idiot here yapping on YouTube for entertainment purposes only. Also read CFTC Rule 4.41 on simulated trading, which is what we're talking about, even in funded prop firm accounts, and the affiliate and partnership disclaimer that I was talking about at the beginning of this video. It says, I stand to make money from Top 1 Futures, code RDF, and others. Can't be unbiased if I stand to make money. Thanks a whole lot. Feel free, hit like, hit subscribe, do whatever you want to do. See you trading live 9:30 a.m. tomorrow.